Hi guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Sermondo Talks. My name is Christina and I have a very special guest for you today. He's a successful Amazon seller and the creator of the Amazon Freedom Ticket course. Let's say hi to Kevin King and ask him a few questions. So I'm here today with Kevin King, who's a seven-figure Amazon seller and the founder of Freedom Ticket, an Amazon course. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, how
Nice.
you doing? Nice to be here today.
Thank you. Glad to have you on. How are you?
I'm good. It was great meeting you not too long ago in Israel at an event. Glad to be here.
So let's start right away. In one sentence, how would you describe Freedom Ticket?
In one sentence, that's a good one. In one sentence, the most comprehensive and detailed course on how to sell on Amazon in the world.
When was it launched?
It was first launched in September of 2017.
Would you say it's going well? Do you have a lot of students?
Yeah, there's into the thousands of students. Yeah, it's done well, and we keep it updated. So it's the courses, things change on Amazon quite a bit. So I go in and update the course regularly. Some courses people put it out one time, and someone buys it and goes in there, and it's 3 years old stuff. So it's constantly updated. In fact, there's a brand new complete overhaul about to come out this fall. We've completely recorded everything from every single module has been re-recorded all the way up. So there's a whole new version coming out. So people that have the current version, the good thing is if you bought the current version, you get all the updates for free. So nobody has to rebuy it or anything. It's completely free.
Oh, that's nice. And speaking of changes in the Amazon industry, you've been an Amazon seller for a while, right? How long have you been selling for?
2001. So about
2000.
18 years, 18, 19 years. Now, as a third party seller, as an FBA seller since 2015. But before that, it was through something called it's similar to their vendor program called Amazon Advantage.
What would you say changed the most in the last couple of years from your experience?
Oh man, it's become well, the competition has changed the most. It's when I first started, it was much easier. So the level of competition, the amount of people that are not playing by the rules, especially coming out of China. There's a lot of problems that has intensified dramatically. Um, then probably one of the biggest changes on Amazon was back in 2016 when they in October, I think it was October 3rd. Everybody remembers that just like it was a major holiday or something. October 3rd, 2016 is when, if you were selling back then, you know that date. They banned incentivized reviews, so that was a big change in the way people ranked and the way the system worked. So those are probably some of the biggest. I mean, there's Amazon's constantly evolving, so I mean they're improving the interface and the data and the tools that are out there. Like Helium 10. Just it's amazing what some of these tools can do now versus when I first started it was there were some tools, but they were pretty rinky dinky compared to what you can do now.
Also, Manny Coat is the co-founder of Freedom Ticket, right?
Yeah, man, well, Manny and I are partners on that. Manny's company is he's this guy who started Helium 10, and so he and I partnered on the Freedom Ticket. We also do another course called it used to be called Illuminati, but now it's called a Helium 10 Elite, and it's an advanced level training. So we've been doing that since February of 2017, and it's a monthly training that we do for more advanced sellers. So we've been doing that, and then we decided that we should probably uh, take a look at maybe doing a beginner's course. And so at first I didn't really want to do that because I'm busy selling and doing my other stuff, but I just got kind of frustrated out there with all the misinformation in Facebook. And you take a look at some of the other people that are selling courses, there's a lot of garbage. There's a few other good courses, but there's probably 1,000 of them, literally probably 1,000 courses out there, YouTube videos, and most of them are pure junk. And I just got tired of seeing people falling for these scams that this is an easy business and you can buy a Lamborghini in 2 months by selling on Amazon. Look at all these sales figures. My student did
Uh,
$100,000 his first month, but what they don't tell you is, yeah, he might have done 100,000, but those are all promotional sales. He's actually negative $20,000 in his bank account. So I got tired of some of that, so I was like, you know what, I'll just do a course. And so Manny's like, that would be great. Why don't you create the course and put that out? And so that's what we did. So he doesn't have any he doesn't speak in the course or he doesn't do anything in the course. It's just we partner. So that's the relationship there.
Okay, speaking of those fake gurus and bad courses, what do you personally think makes a good course? What should Amazon sellers consider before buying one?
Well, see, the problem with a lot of courses is people do it, they make it, I call it cookie cutter. They'll say these are the 6 steps to selling on Amazon. Find a product that weighs under this amount. It's between this price and this price, under this BSR, and you can ship it by air freight. And what happens is everybody starts doing the same thing. And you have one guy succeed and 9 guys fail. If 10 people find the same product. And it doesn't really tell you. Everybody wants a shortcut. So a lot of people that are buying these courses, they're tired of working at their job. They're tired of the 9 to 5, and they're ready to quit, and they're looking for a really quick fix. And so these guys prey on that, and they tell them, look how easy it is, and it's passive income, which is totally not passive income. They tell them it's passive income, and that you can make all this money. And someone working another job that wants to do an Amazon business, unless you have a lot of money in the bank and a lot of savings or some other source of income, you shouldn't quit your job for at least a year, maybe more, um, if you want to have a chance of success. I mean, selling on Amazon is probably one of the greatest opportunities that's been around, that's come out in 100 years of business. The way you can leverage it and you can scale it is amazing, but it is a real business. And so a lot of these courses don't really show that. And so that's what I do is I don't have a cookie formula. Here's not the recipe to success. I teach you everything you need to know, so that you can make your own decisions and think outside the box. And that's really what makes it different. I mean, I'm not trying to brag on the course or anything, but I have a lot of people that have taken other courses, and they usually say that mine fills the Freedom Ticket fills in all the gaps, and it really is an A to Z, very thorough explanation of not only how to sell on Amazon, but the business side. And I go through the numbers a lot. Most courses really don't get into the numbers. A lot of people don't like doing numbers. They don't like doing math, but most of them will skip over it. Or, even some of the biggest companies out there. I just saw a video from, you know, um, one of the biggest, not Helium 10, but one of the other huge companies that put up on YouTube just recently. I don't want to name them by name, but everybody would know their name if I named them. And the video was done by one of the founders of the company. And the video, he's showing how to calculate ACoS and how to do stuff, and he was leaving out like 4 expenses, and it's completely wrong. And
Oh,
anybody that would follow that would just be completely misled. And it could have been an honest mistake, but at the same time, there's so much of that. People just don't get into the numbers, and this is a numbers game. You have to have a quality product, but at the end of the day, it's a numbers game, and most people they don't understand that. So people are always asking, how much money do I need to start this business? And people will say, you'll hear some story. Some guy started with $100, and he may have doing arbitrage or something like that. He didn't start private label with $100. That's
yeah,
BS.
yeah.
Um, but or somebody else, there was a great podcast just recently, Seller Sessions. Danny McMillan did a great podcast with a guy who started. It was refreshing to hear it, because most people don't say this, but he's doing, I think, $24 million this year in sales, and keeps growing. I said, so how much did you start with? And the first thing out of his mouth was I forgot the exact number. It was low. It was like $3,000, or no, it was $1,000. It was $1,000. I started with $1,000. So people hear that, and that's usually where the story ends. And people will say, "Oh man, I can start this with $1,000 and have a $24 million business." But then Danny pushed him a little bit more and said, "Okay, so you had $1,000. So how did you grow that? That doesn't make sense." And the guy's like, "Well, yeah, I did get like $4,000 more as I sold some stuff a couple weeks later." And he's like, "Yeah, I did partner with a friend of mine. He put in $30,000, so we had
Uh,
35,000 total." And he's like, "Then once we hit $100,000 in sales, I went to my parents, and my parents gave me like 150 grand. And then once we got to $1 million in sales, we spun off one of the brands into another company, and this guy came in and put in like $500,000. Like, okay, that's refreshing to hear, because that's how it works. You don't get to
yeah.
$24 million on $1,000 investment. It's BS, and a lot of people leave out the full story. They just tell you that little tease, and so everybody gets misled. And so that's what I try to do differently, and that's what really frustrates me out there with a lot of these courses, is they're just really incomplete. And they're really short. I mean, the Freedom Ticket is about 38 hours of training, and then you have the option to actually do Q&As with me. So every week, like when we finish this recording here, I've got to jump on a Q&A where the students can actually ask questions to me. It's not of a mentor, not of a former student, but it's like an hour and a half directly to me. It's a group Q&A, but I answer every single question until there's no more questions to answer, and so they get
And
that direct access.
everyone can participate in those Q&As that has purchased the course.
Yeah, there's different levels, but yeah. And so the Q&As are super valuable to a lot of people. So, nobody else really offers that. If you buy, amazing.com, that's a well-known course, probably the most well-known out there. And it's a good course. It's not as complete as Freedom Ticket, but it's if you had to say what's one of the better ones out there, it would be up there. But the questions you get are with mentors. It's not with the founders. It's not with the people who are teaching you. It's with the next. It's not lower level is not the right word to say, but it's not with the creators. And so I think there's something to being able to ask the person who's doing this and who really knows and who's teaching you questions, and that's pretty unique about the Freedom Ticket.
One question about your students would be, what do you expect from them? Because as you say, Amazon is not this magic, I put in $1,000 and get $1 million back in sales. So of course your students have to work. What exactly do you expect from them?
Well, I expect them to actually go through the course and finish it and launch a product. I have a student right now. She's on the Q&As almost. She's from Europe, and she's on the Q&As almost every week. She never misses. And and she took the course maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago maybe. She still hasn't launched her product. And so I actually told her about a month ago, I said, sorry, I'm not answering any more questions from you. Until you launch your product, you got to go launch your product, and then I'll answer questions for you. It's been 2 years. You got to get off your rear end and do something. And so I want people to go out there, even if a lot of people are afraid to pull the trigger sometimes. They're using their life savings or their last little bit of money, or they borrowed it. So they're really worried, is this the right product? Am I doing this right? And they just go from course to course to course, or they just never actually launch the product. They're just waiting for that one perfect thing. You can't do that. You got to get out there and launch. And if your first product maybe is not a success, and it's not for a lot of people, you're going to have a tremendous learning. You're going to learn a tremendous amount of material, a tremendous amount. So when you come back and do it again, you're not going to make those mistakes, and your chance of success goes way up. Other people, their first one, if they pay attention and do it right, their first product can be a great success. I have students that's happened, but I don't go out there and say, look at, you won't see this in any of the marketing or any of the webinars we do. Look at this student, he's doing $3 million. You won't see my sales figures. You won't see any of that kind of stuff. It's because that's just misleading to a lot of people. I mean, I know a lot of people in this business that are doing $5 million a year in sales, and they don't have two nickels to rub together. They have cash flow and they have money coming into their bank, but they're not managing it properly. And they're actually, in a lot of cases, not even making money because they're picked the wrong products, or they're fighting with Chinese sellers that are just nickel and diming them to death, and it's just a race to the bottom, and it's a problem. And so I teach how to avoid a lot of that stuff.
That sounds pretty good. What happens if I'm not happy with your course?
If you're not happy with the course, you get a money back guarantee. It's a 30-day money back, no questions asked money back guarantee.
Oh, really?
So if you buy it and you don't like it, it's no questions. It's no like, well, what was wrong with it? It's just like, here you go. Sorry, here's your money back. So
That's cool.
so we do offer that. And then the Helium 10 software and stuff. There's some ways to do some pretty cool stuff if you're a Helium 10 member. I can't talk about the exact right now, but if you check, depending on when you're watching this, if it's after October of 2019, there's some pretty cool stuff you can do as well with the Helium 10 and the Freedom Ticket that I think a lot of people will really enjoy.
And I think a lot of people are already using Helium 10 anyway.
A lot of them are, yeah. They're the big one out there. But if you're a Helium 10 subscriber and you're watching this after October, or actually the first part of October of 2019, take a look on the site, and there's some really cool stuff you can do with the Freedom Ticket.
Okay. When you talk about your students that don't really are actively doing something like launching a product, are you easily getting frustrated with situations like that, or what do you like least about your job?
What I like least about the thing I like least is probably I get confused with somebody else in the space sometimes. That's probably the biggest problem. And there's another guy who has courses, young kid. He's a really good internet marketer. My name is Kevin. His name is also Kevin. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about, but his name is Kevin David.
Yeah.
My name is Kevin King. So unfortunately, a lot of people get us confused because of the two Kevins, the same first name. And so a lot of times, probably the thing that frustrates me the most is, someone will post on a Facebook group, "Hey, what's a good course?" or "Who should I follow?" And people will all have their opinions and they'll list different ones. And someone will list, "Oh, Kevin King's Freedom Ticket." And then right below it, there's somebody that posts, "Oh, that guy is a scammer. He hasn't updated his course in 3 years. He doesn't sell on Amazon, and he fakes his numbers and all this kind of stuff." And I'm like, ugh, again. And someone will usually set them straight. Like, I think you're confusing Kevin King and Kevin David. And usually people are like, "Oh yeah, oh, sorry, typo or whatever." But still, that frustrates the heck out of me that I get lumped in with that. So I wish he would change his name.
Well, maybe you should. But Kevin King is too iconic, I think.
Yeah, I got that King name. That's the
Yeah.
that's a good name to have. It's good to be the king. So yeah, that's probably the most frustrating thing of all is that.
And
And then some students, they if they don't launch, I mean, that's ultimately on them. I want to encourage them and give them every tool they can and answer all their questions and give them the best chance of success. But if they don't choose to pull the trigger, I can't force them.
so you don't
Um,
feel responsible in that sense that you're
no,
responsible
I mean, I
for.
do everything I can. Like the woman that hadn't launched, I let her stay on the Q&A for ask questions for a year and a half, and finally it's just like, look, you're taking up. If you're not going to do this, you're taking up valuable. You're taking up space. You're taking up
Yeah.
time from people who are doing this. So go do it, and I'll be happy to help you. But you've been here for a year and a half. Get off your rear end and do something.
Yeah.
And so that's and she took it well. She's like, yeah, I'll do it. Um, every once in a while, she's still on the Q&As, and she'll answer a question, ask a question. I'll say, blah blah blah. I'm sorry. I'm gonna skip over your question because you have you launched yet? She's like, no. I said, sorry. But uh, I mean, it's that's probably I'm trying to think if there's anything else that really frustrates me. I mean, I enjoy it. I enjoy helping other people. So um, that's probably the other thing is because I am higher profile, I guess. People will message me. It's people that aren't students or people that have heard me on a podcast or people that saw me on here, and they'll reach out on Facebook and message me. And I don't mind that, but sometimes people will send a big long thing. "Hey, Kevin, I heard you on this podcast. I got a little problem." It's like a 17 paragraph message, wanting me to dive into helping them. And I can't do that. So I feel bad because when these people, they probably honestly need help, and I would love to help them, but there's so many of those that come in, it just becomes, and then if you answer one just to help somebody,
Yeah.
they keep coming back to you over and over and over, and it can eat up with all your time. And so unfortunately, I wish I could answer all those people and help them out. But that's why I have the freedom ticket. It's like, hey, go take the freedom ticket. I'll teach you a lot of the stuff that you're at. It's in there. And you can have the Q&As. That's kind of that time is set aside to help you. I have to run my own my other businesses as well. And so that's I wish I could help all those people, but I just can't because um, so that's another thing that happens quite a bit.
And on the other hand, what's the thing that you love most about your job? Is it the traveling or?
Well, I love traveling. I've always traveled my whole life, so the traveling is not new. I enjoy the traveling, speaking at different events. But no, the thing about as far as I have like 6 different businesses that involved in, but so like the freedom ticket or the training part, the thing I love probably that makes me the happiest is when if I'm at an event, if I'm at Sellerfest in Israel or I'm at SellerCon or one of these events, and someone comes up to me that I don't even know who they are. And they're like, "Kevin, I'm so glad to meet you. Can we take a selfie? Um, I listened to you on these podcasts, or maybe they took the course or whatever, and some of the stuff you said really resonated with me, and I made some changes in my business, and my sales have gone up to this, or it really helped me, or something." That's the most satisfying thing. It's not are they becoming rich or how much money they make. I don't care. It's that someone got some value and felt that I helped them in some way, and so that's the most rewarding thing is when someone does that.
Did you ever work a 9 to 5 job?
No, I've never had a 9 to 5 job in my life.
So you just started right away with being self-employed.
Yeah, I'm a little bit older than you, um, but
Oh,
so
really?
yeah, just a little bit. I could probably be your father. Um, but but yeah. So no, I've never worked a 9 to 5. I've had two jobs in my life that paid me a paycheck. Like a direct, when I was a teenager, and that was more than 30 years ago. And the one was working at McDonald's, and one was working in actually three jobs. Sorry, another one was working in a deli, and then I delivered pizzas in college. And but that's kind of like you're on your own. You don't have a boss overlooking. But no, I've never worked corporate. Never been 9 to 5. I've been an entrepreneur. After I graduated college, I went straight into doing odd things, and I did frustrated my parents a little bit. Like, why don't you go work for a company and have health insurance and have all this stuff? I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. So I had the ups and downs. I've had a bankruptcy, 20 something years ago where I had a business that failed and I recovered from that. So I've had the highs and the lows, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I value the freedom. That's why it's freedom ticket. I value the freedom that this gives you. And before Amazon, I was still doing internet stuff. I've been selling on the internet outside of Amazon since like 1995, 96, somewhere around there. I made my first sale back before there was anything called Google. And so I go back a ways.
When you're talking about the ups and downs in your career, what would you say was your last big achievement or your biggest achievement overall in your life?
The biggest achievement overall in my life, that's a good question. Um, Probably biggest achievement. Probably finding an amazing woman, and through my travels that I ended up a really smart, beautiful woman that I ended up marrying. That's probably the biggest thing in my life. As far as a business achievement, that's a good question. I mean, I had a company in the past that we built up and had like 20 employees working in an office, and that was really rock and rolling. Was able to travel the world, do a lot of cool stuff through that business. That was cool, but now that I'm doing what I'm doing, it's in a way it's a little bit similar too. So I mean, um, working on a company right now on it's launching a brand new company on Amazon with some partners that I think may actually end up being the biggest achievement the way we're doing this. It's a recycled plastics company. Some of what we're doing is really, really cool and going to be game changing. And so that company, if it works the way we think it will, it's gonna hit $20+ million in sales pretty quickly, and we may be able to exit that in 2 to 3 years for a really nice payday.
I love how you can already predict your biggest achievement in the future.
Yeah, I think that one might be it. I don't think that. You never know. It may be a bankruptcy number two. You never know.
Yeah, you never
But
know. That's
we
the
got a
game.
really good team, and it's being done right. It's from day one. We've got the right people, the right financial people, the right people that know. It's a really good team, so it has the best chance of success of anything. I've done things on my own. I've done things with others. I've made mistakes in the past, and so this is kind of a culmination of everything that's put together. It's like an all-star kind of thing. So I think it's going to do really well.
Are you ever not working?
Yeah, I do play. Yeah, I mean, money never sleeps. So I'm not a Monday through Friday 9 to 5 guy. If I want to sleep in, I sleep in. If I don't have an appointment or meeting, if I want to, I'm a late night person, so I'm much more creative at night. So I'm usually up till like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. a lot of times. I work weekends if I need to. If I don't, I'll take time and play. I work hard and play hard. So it's yeah. And like I said, I've got 6 different businesses. I have the 2 training courses and 4 other things. And so each one of those, you might look, how's he do 6 different businesses? And each one of those is 6 or 7 figure business, at least 6 figures. And a couple of them are 7 figures. But I work smart. Instead of working hard, I try to work smart. Like, I was partnering with Manny Coats for the Freedom Ticket. I don't have to do a lot. A lot of people create a course. They gotta handle the customer service. They gotta handle the marketing, getting the affiliates, doing posting the YouTube videos and getting all the graphics done and all that kind of stuff. I don't have to do a lot of that. It lets me focus on what I know. It's how to sell and how to teach people, and they take care of all those little details in the partnership. And so I partner with people like that And I can, because they're growing so fast and they have a big audience, it helps me, get people that see the Freedom Ticket. I don't have to go out there and hustle, like a lot of people do, putting up
Yeah.
YouTube videos and begging for affiliates to promote them and all that. So, because that's kind of all built in. So that's what I mean by when I say work smart, and I do that with several of my other companies as well. I try to keep them lean. I don't have any employees. I don't have any VAs. I keep everything lean and work smart, not hard. So it sounds like you're like, man, six companies must be like never sleeping. But no, I get a good 8 hours of sleep most nights.
That's nice. I was also imagining that your phone is like constantly ringing.
Well, my phone is actually always on. It doesn't ring. I have it turned off. There's no sound on my phone because it does ring a lot. Some of it sales people calling me or whatever. But yeah, unless I'm expecting your call, you'll never get me on the phone. Unless
Okay.
you tell me I'm calling at a certain hour, and my wife has a special ring, so that one actually does ring. But other than that, nothing rings.
That's a good way to live. So when you have your free time, or you say you play, what do you do for fun? What are your hobbies?
I enjoy, I'm a big in the United States. I'm a big college football fan. So fall in the U.S. from late August until end of December, pretty much is Saturdays are like religion to me. So I'm a huge college football, American football fan. So that's a big hobby. I love to travel. I love eating going to good restaurants and eating good food. Michelin star restaurants and stuff like that. Um, those are probably and just going and hanging out, just chilling. I'm not someone that goes and like I want to go read a good book or something like that. Uh, that's basically it. I don't have a dedicated hobby that I'm not working on a 1947 car, restoring it or anything like that. I don't have anything like that.
Not yet. Maybe that
Not,
will come.
not yet. That's right.
I also did some research and asked some of our users what they would ask you, and a lot of people were like, "What does Kevin King spend his money on?"
Well, that's I spend my money primarily on experiences. So I'm someone, some people want to buy. I don't have a nice car. I don't have a Lamborghini or a Tesla or anything like that. I drive a Toyota. I mean, I have nice things in my house. I have some nice artwork and stuff like that. But the artwork, it reminds me of a place I visited or something. I believe that life is about the experiences you have and the people that you meet. It's not about the physical things you have. Back in 2007, I turned 40 and I decided I'm going to travel for a year. And I organized my business back then. It wasn't Amazon, but I was selling on Amazon, but the main business wasn't Amazon. Organized it so that I could be in Austin for 2 weeks of every month, and I would be on the road for 2 weeks. And I wasn't backpacking. I wasn't staying in the Four Seasons, but I would travel, and sometimes I'd go by myself. Sometimes friends or family would come with me. It depended. But that one year turned into 7 years. I did that for 7 years. So I went to 92. Well, I can't remember exact that time frame. It's probably like 70 countries or something. But in total, I've been in 92 countries, all seven continents. And so I went out and did that, and that was one of the best things I could do. And I spent a lot of money doing that, probably $500,000 or more, on airfares and hotels and just different things. And I bought stuff. My whole house is things from all over the world, artwork and nice artwork, not little trinkets you get in a little souvenir store, but you know, $3,000 carvings from somewhere or whatever. So that's some of what I spend it on. And then the travel and I'm not afraid if it's I won't spend $10,000 for a business class ticket. I think that's a waste, but I'll spend three. If I can get it for 3 or 4, I'll do that, and I won't blink at it, because you just arrive if it's a long flight, a 10, 15 hour flight. You just arrive in a different state of mind, and just changes your whole trip. Or I will spend, you know, last night went to dinner with some friends here in Austin, and I paid for the dinner, just as my treat, and it's three of us, and it's like $900. But it was a great time. We had 3 hours of laughing and having fun. It was really good. And so I'll spend on those kinds of things. Those are experiences. Those are things that you can't really ever take away. You're always going to have the memories. If you buy stuff, it falls apart or it deteriorates or whatever. And so I don't need to show off and be flashy. And look at me. I've got money or whatever. That's not what it's about to me.
I really like that. I think that's super cool.
Thank you.
Um, okay, now to my absolutely favorite question. If you could hire any famous person in the world to work with you or for you or to be your boss, okay, I don't think that you want to have a boss, but
No, I
uh,
wouldn't. I wouldn't hire anybody to be my boss.
who would that be and why?
Oh man, any famous person. I'm not smitten by fame. I've hung out in the suite with Michael Jordan in the past. I've been with a lot of other famous people. I've known a lot of famous people. I've known a lot of models in the past that were nobody that became super famous. I know one right now that's a worldwide name that I knew when they were nothing. So I'm not really smitten by that. So I don't. To me, it's not about fame doesn't impress me. It's not something I would probably actually not hire a famous person. I would rather probably choose somebody else that's off the grid or that's just that's a super smart person, got their head down and working hard. I don't really care about the fame. So I can't answer that because there's nobody, I don't follow any actors or actresses or musicians really. I'm not smitten by any of them. I'm not, if I was at some concert of my favorite artist or something, they said, "Hey, can you come backstage? You get to meet him, go hang out with him." I'd be like, "Okay, whatever." It wouldn't be like, "Oh my God, can't believe it! I'm taking pictures and putting them on Instagram." And it just fame doesn't really impress me.
What about
So
Jeff Bezos? Would be handy to have him work for you.
I wouldn't want him working for me actually, because I don't think he would be a good worker. I actually think Jeff Bezos is a good strategist. I'd rather have him on my board of directors or have him as an advisor, not as someone working for me. I mean, partner with someone like that that has that kind of experience that I don't have would be valuable, but not working for me. I think actually him working for me could be a bad thing. It would be better for someone of that level and that mindset and that brilliance to actually be a partner or an advisor. So that's probably more of how I would look at that. Someone like that.
Okay, I can get behind that. Speaking of more famous people, which resources do you recommend to Amazon sellers? Free resources like podcasts or YouTube channels to learn from?
Sermondo, of course.
You
What
heard
else
the
is there?
man. You heard the
What else? What else is there? I mean, yeah, I mean, Sermondo's a great directory where you can find a lot of cool stuff. But I mean, you said free resources. So some of the podcasts, like the Serious Sellers podcast, there's a handful of podcasts that are really good for Amazon sellers. Seller Sessions, Serious Sellers. Manny used to have the AM PM podcast, and he's occasionally doing something on that. There's four or five other really good ones that I would recommend. I can let me just look on here just to give you an idea. Look at my phone real quick. I mean, yeah, like Serious Sellers, the Amazing Seller, Amazing Freedom, not Amazing Seller, Amazing Freedom is another good one. Follow the Data, uh, e-commerce, Elevated e-commerce is a good one. The Quiet Lab Brokerage one's a good one. Ecom Crew is a good one. So there's a bunch, but those would be some of the ones that I listen to. They have some really good content. There's a lot of Helium 10 has a really good blog and stuff and some guides and stuff that's free. You got to be careful with a lot of the free YouTube videos. There's a lot of people posting stuff on YouTube, and a lot of stuff's just flat wrong or out of date. So be very careful with what people say or what you follow there. Also, in the Facebook groups, you should be, if you're selling on Amazon, in some of the bigger Facebook groups, but be careful in there as well. There's a lot of stuff that gets posted that someone will post that's never even sold, or they just launched a product and they're acting like they really know the answer. And other people will jump on and say, yeah, that's how it works, or whatever. I mean, a perfect example of that is people say, I'm about to run out of stock. What should I do? I'm assuming I should raise my price. And people say, yeah, raise your price, slow down the sales, whatever. That's the worst thing you can do. So you gotta be careful with some of that stuff. So that's where these podcasts are a little bit more authoritative and a little bit more at least the ones I named. People actually know. I respect them and they know what they're talking about. And so you're not gonna get misled. Um, Other free stuff that's out there, it's not free, but sometimes when they do these, well, they are free virtual summits. Gustas Calise does them. Seller Tradecraft guys, they're in your service that they do some, but some of those can be good where you can get like 20, 30 experienced sellers. Um, those are usually free. The day you have to pay if you want like access to them in the past, but if you're able to stay up on top of them as they release them over the week or whatever, those can be free. Those can be a good source of information. And then it's not free, but another great thing to do is get out and go to events. Try to go to 2 or 3 events a year. You don't have to go to a bunch like I do, but and meet other sellers and extend your network. And sometimes the speeches are good, and sometimes some of them are not so good. But a lot of times, if you don't go and hide in the corner and go and network, you can meet people that can help you, or you can form little masterminds and y'all can talk. You can talk amongst yourself, or maybe you'll meet a new partner, or you'll learn something that you didn't know. Like, oh, I didn't know about this freight forwarder. I didn't know about this service, or whatever. So those are really good to go to as well.
Do you have, this is also my last question, do you have 3 other tips that you would give to any Amazon seller out there besides going to network at events and using those free resources?
Know your numbers, number one. That would be the number one tip, is really know your numbers, and don't use all the money that you have in your first product. If you've only got $10,000 to invest in this business, you don't go out and you buy $8,000 or $9,000 worth of product. You're going to buy about $4,000 worth of product. And I explain all that in the Freedom Ticket, but that's a know your numbers. You may have cash flow, may have money coming in, but you may be broke when you look at it on a balance sheet or a P&L. So I'd say know your numbers. Another tip is you need a quality product. It's all in the product. So product selection is critical, but don't get hung up on that. Let that slow you down, but it's critical. And knowing how to see what the competition is and the keywords and stuff on that. And don't get, I would say third is don't get, there's lots of ninja tricks or hacks or stuff like that that's out there. And some of those are cool. It's kind of cool to know some of this stuff. Or if you do this one thing, you can get extra reviews. Or if you do this here, you can maybe rank higher. But at the end of the day, those things are usually short-lived, and sometimes they can backfire on you. It may work for a little bit, but I see some people, that's all they focus on. What's the latest hack? What's the latest thing I can do? And they're not building a business. I mean, if you focus on the 4 fundamental things in this business, which is finding a good product, knowing how to do it, create a good listing, and knowing how to do a good launch, and then rinse and repeating, they'll focus on that and focus on the core stuff, focus on the sound business stuff, the things that aren't going to constantly change. And you'll have it's a little bit slower climb. You're not going to, get rich overnight. But 2, 3 years into it, you're going to be glad you did that and not following all these ninja hacks and all these little tricks that just become frustrating for you because it works for a little while and you're happy, and then all of a sudden the bottom falls out. So that, I think too many people get caught up in that. They'll even some of the courses, like here's how to use Manny Chat to rank, or here's how to use rebates or whatever, and they'll just focus on that, not on building a solid product and a solid business. And that's a mistake a lot of people make. And so I would advise people to try to stay away from that, master the fundamentals, and build something sound that you can be proud of and that's going to last for a while.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Then we're already done. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer my questions. And
No
I
problem.
will release you now into your preparation for your Q&A.
Okay, I appreciate that. Have a great one. Everybody out there, it's nice chatting with you, and we'll see you again soon.
All right, guys, that's it for today. That was my interview with Kevin King. I hope you learned some valuable things that you can apply to your own business. If you want to find out more about the Freedom Ticket course, just hit the link that I put in the description. And if you want to find other courses or explore service providers that you may need in order to grow your Amazon FBA business, just go to sermondo.com, check it out, and I see you guys soon.